year, there are fewer and fewer of them. The years take their toll. Some can no longer walk. Some have heart problems, but they continue to come to this park in Brooklyn in the memory of the victims of the Holocaust. It's difficult and painful to remember. Many of those who survived were children back then, but the memory is not allowing them to forget the terror they carried through their entire lives.
Brooklyn has the largest Jewish population outside of Israel. We consider ourselves the Tel Aviv of America, and many of them are Holocaust survivors. It is imperative that the young people of today know the history and what terrible acts took place that harmed their grandparents and great-grandparents.
We want to encourage the future generation to fight for and support the peace movement, to always have a blue sky and shining sun over our heads, for them to never experience that black plague that our generation had to overcome. To the younger generation, our kids, our grandkids, our grand-grandkids, I would like to say that without knowing the past, there will be no future. It's very important that while we are alive, we are a living memorial. We must educate people with what our generation has gone through. I would like to encourage the generation of our kids, our grandkids, our grand-grandkids to preserve the peace. May there never be wars on earth. We are doing everything we can to ensure that people continue to talk about this. Never forget about this and pass this on to their kids, grandkids, and all future generations. It's impossible to describe. We were young prisoners of the ghetto. We never committed any acts of heroism. But to survive in such conditions in a ghetto and a concentration camp is heroism by itself. For those of us remaining, I would like to wish us to live to 120 and never get tired of telling our kids and grandkids about what happened. Because today, 6 million souls are addressing us, and every one of their voices must be heard. If we forget about the Holocaust, there will be no future.
We need to make sure that we educate our young adults, that our future generations remember what atrocities the millions that were murdered during the Holocaust went through.
And again I ask myself, what are we doing to stop it? And what are we doing to remember? And what are we doing that it should never ever happen again?
We read a poem that speaks volumes to me. It's found at the United States Holocaust Museum. It's a poem by a pastor, Herman Niemöller. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me.
My message is that, of course, we must never forget, but all of us have an obligation and a role to play to make sure that we never forget. We have to speak to our children, speak to our community, speak to our families, speak to our neighbors.
You are the future. Your voice matters, what you do matter. Never again is more than a slogan. It is a way of life. Never again.